Hey guys, Mystery Hobo here. This is just a quick commentary on a rather basic game I played yesterday. It starts off bad. I died twice at the Alliance Keep because we were getting spawn trapped. And then I respawn at Lumbermill and go on a huge tear and destroy lots of stuff. But it's kind of a bittersweet ending because you'll see what happens at the end. But anyways, I start off, I spawn, and I'm 3 times bigger than normal. I don't know what's the deal there, but it's pretty sick actually. I also get the Berserker, and I'm like even bigger now. But anyways, this video is going to be about the changes in 4.1, what I liked about them, what I didn't like about them, and also some of the changes announced for 4.2. This is a warrior-specific video on the changes, but if you want to see a more general video, you can check out Quinlan's video, which is like Affliction Warlock 85 PvP 4.2 or something like that, or 4.1 I mean. And that's more about general changes to all the classes and everything else. So, let's begin with Charge and Intercept no longer have diminishing turns on their stun effects. This change was absolutely needed. It was really dumb to charge someone and then they just keep running and you can't even get a hamstring on them. It absolutely made no sense. It was really dumb. People could just outrun you on mounts like 90% of the time if they just mounted up and ran from you. Or they'd just been in a fight and got stunned a lot. So, really happy with that change. Next change is Colossus Smash now ignores 50% of the armor on players instead of the 100% from before. I don't really even notice this as much as I thought I would. When I first saw it, I thought it was going to be really bad. I thought it was going to completely destroy Warrior's Burst. But the patch came and it wasn't really noticeable. It was kind of like our burst was a little bit less, but they also increased our damage like in other places. So it's kind of evens out. Warriors are less of a burst class now and more of sustained damage. We still do burst, but we can do a lot of damage over a long amount of time too. So that's good. Heroic Leap is no longer on the global cooldown like the other charge and movement effects, this is a good change because now you can hamstring and heroic leap away from someone and they'll still be slowed and you can do it really quickly instead of having to wait the full second. So that's good. Also like charge when you can hamstring or stun and then charge the other person. So that was good. Good change. Now the next change is kind of tied in with another change where Pummel is now usable in all stances. And the change to go along with this is Shield Bash has been removed from the game. So instead of having the 2 kicks, you just have the 1, and it's usable in all stances, which is an okay change, but it kind of has to do with stance dancing, which if you wanted to be a good warrior, you were a master at stance dancing, which was a great thing, because I learned how to do it. It took me a while to learn, but once you got good at it, you could pummel a target and then switch to defensive stance and then shield bash them, and they'd be stunned if you had gag or whatever, or not stunned, but silenced. So I kind of lose that, but that also has to go along with other changes in 4.2, which I'll talk about later, and you'll see that where Blizzard's kind of headed with the direction of warriors and what they want the warrior to be. Next change is Spell Reflection has a 25-second cooldown now, up from 10. Now, this change is bad, but not terrible. It only really affects like Frost Mages, where you absolutely needed Spell Reflect every time they froze you in place, where you could reflect like their deep freeze and then they'd be frozen and you get out of your freeze and charge them or whatever and you'd be on them. So Frost Mages are a little bit hard to beat, but I don't know, they were kind of impossible anyways. Really hard to beat Frost Mages, so it doesn't really matter. But they're also kind of getting nerfed a bit in 4.2, I'll talk about that later too. The next change, Improved Hamstring, now has the global cooldown reduced by 0.5 if you put 2 points in the talent tree. So this is good because then you can just spam double hamstring and they'd be completely snared, and then you can go to the next guy quickly, and if you need to peel from your healer, it's really good, especially in 3s and healer 2s. So that's great. I'm really happy about that. And the next change is by far the best change, which is Juggernaut no longer increases the charge stun by 2 seconds, but instead it reduces the cooldown by 2 seconds. So with the glyph, you'll have a charge every 12 seconds, which is by far the greatest thing in this patch, because charge was a little bit of too long of a cooldown before this, and now it's like just about right. Like sometimes you're like, oh, I shouldn't use my charge there. I need one now, but it's still like, oh, charge is back. Good. I need this now. But it's not as good as back when we had intercept, but it's still great or better than it was. But when we didn't, so that's a good change. And the next change is rallying cry, which is pretty much a last stand, but for everyone in your raid. This is pretty good, especially for 3s when everyone's taking damage. You just pop that, and for 10 seconds your healer can top you off, or whoever's taking damage off. So that's really good. I'm really happy with that, especially since like warriors' healing abilities aren't as good. So now if you macro that in, and you can help out everyone really in your team, especially you if you pop Rage Regeneration and Rallying Cry at the same time. You get a ton of health back, so that's good. Now to the 4.2 changes. Not too many for warriors so far, but the ones that are there are kind of big, so I'll talk about those. But first, Ring of Valor has been added to the arena rotation once again. So I don't really like Ring of Valor, to be honest. I haven't played it on my warrior, but on my druid back in Wrath, I absolutely despise the map. But from what I've heard, they've changed it around, so now instead of getting raised up from the middle, you start from the sides in different rooms, which is actually could fix it a little bit, because now like rogues can actually get a sap on you. It wasn't like retarded because everyone got in combat right off the bat, and it'd be hard to get out of LOS right off the start, and especially since the pillars fall. I'm not sure what they're doing about that. But anyways, it'll be interesting to see how it is on my warrior. Next change is really good, actually. It's been moved around a lot in the past couple days, but as of right now, Deep Freeze and Ring of Frost now share diminishing returns with each other. This is really, really good, really needed, so now Frost Mage have to sacrifice their damage for CC. So that's good. Next is kind of the same thing. Hungering Cold now has a 1.5 second cast time, up from instant, which is good, because now you can kick it. And I'm not sure if they might change this like they did the Mage Ring of Frost, like they make it diminishing returns with like Chains of Ice or something. But as of right now, at least they know there's a problem there, and that something has to be done about it, so that's great. Next change is Slam has got nerfed a little bit by like what, 200 damage. Not that big a deal. I didn't even think Slam was doing that much damage. I personally am not Slam spec, but either way, Heroic Strike. Sorry, oh my god, I can't remember my own spells. Heroic Strike is still better, so it doesn't really affect me. Not that big of a change, anyways, even if you are Slam spec. But anyways, Overpower now is a 1.5 second cooldown, up from 1. This is basically addressing the problem of warriors not using Overpower and saving up their Taste for Blood until there's like 1 second left, and then they use double Overpowers back to back, and that's a lot of bursts. So this is just Blizzard getting rid of our bursts, mainly too. And then the final changes, which I'm kind of mad about, because, well, okay, Retaliation no longer requires Battle Stance, Recklessness no longer requires Berserker Stance, and Shield Wall no longer requires Defensive Stance. So this kind of just takes away from what warriors used to be, where you'd stance, the better you were at dancing, the better warrior you were. So, and it kind of takes, like, it makes warriors like almost like too easy, you know, like where the noob can be just as good as a like experienced warrior, and I don't really like that change. So, because I've mastered stance dancing, I've gone through it, I've worked out some of the macros and everything. So, I don't know what Blizzard is doing. I guess they just want us to be less reliant on stance and just do what we do. Maybe they'll even be like one stance later. They won't even have stances. They'll just be always in the one form, like every other class. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like I said, at the end of this video, we're up by like, or no, we were ahead. We came back. We were behind like 100 when I first joined, and then we got up, and right now they're like 4-cap us because our entire team is at mine. I don't know how that happened. I followed some guys that I called Ink on, and now everyone's sitting at mine doing nothing. So classic alliance, I guess. I don't know. It sucks, but whatever. What are you gonna do? Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. See you later. Oh, guys, one last thing. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see. If you want to see macros, add-ons, keybinds, or tips and tricks. Or also if you want to see like 2s or 3s games with Skype, with commentary, or even we could probably do a dual commentary with Quinlan. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Peace.